Welcome to 5 Minutes of Momentum. These episodes are a short 5-minute burst of inspiration, motivation, and massive action. If you need that little kick up the butt to get things moving and to inspire you to take massive action, then every single Thursday I'll be sending you through a 5-minute episode to download, digest, and implement to finish your week off strong. Are you ready to get started? Let's go.
Let's talk about expensive mistakes. We've all made expensive mistakes in the past. I've made one that cost me like $4,000. I've made ones that have cost me a lot of money in the past, and I've learnt my lessons in so many different ways. I'm more discerning in where I spend my money. I have, bought tickets to events that weren't great when I should have done my due diligence and actually looked at who the speaker lineup was and what I was actually in for. Maybe looked at the reviews, and then I wouldn't have wasted a whole day in Brisbane being mansplained and told that I'm not good enough, right? Like, there are so many things that we spend our money on that if we learn from it and we can acknowledge what we actually need and where we should be investing our money, we're more likely to be happy with the investments that we make. So one of the most expensive mistakes that I often see business owners make is outsourcing their financial decisions. That's one really big one. We're either making emotional decisions, we're not really considering where we really should be investing our money for the remainder of the year, or we're literally ignoring and avoiding our numbers, and we're leaving our financial decisions up to, say, our accountant or financial advisor. And we sometimes think, well, isn't that a good idea, right? Wouldn't they know it better than I do? Not always the case. Like, they're not going to know your business as well as you do. They're not going to know your numbers, or they shouldn't know your numbers even as well as you do. You should know your business inside and out when it comes to your numbers in order to know where you should be making your financial decisions, because outsourcing those can be an extremely costly mistake. Secondly is doing your due diligence with the investments that you do make. So I think I've gone beyond like just making emotional decisions in my business. Often, in the early days, I'd be like, oh, that sounds fun, I'm going to go do that. Or I really feel like I need this for status, or I need this for it to look good. And I've gone beyond that. Like when I used to create events in Brisbane or retreats, or like I made the mistakes by spending money on things that didn't matter. And sometimes we need to make those mistakes in order to learn. Like, I get that. And I learned a lot through that journey of like, okay, where did I waste money versus what was really good investment for me? And it helps you also then determine that with coaching programs even. Like, the ones that I would invest in now would be so different. And I think you go through evolutions. Like, sometimes you're like, what is a coaching program going to give me versus one-to-one coaching versus who do I want to learn from, right? Who has achieved the level of result that I want to achieve, and how can I learn from them in a really unique way? And sometimes we don't realize that until we've made the decision and made the mistake in order to learn from it. So this is no judgment. It's just really recognizing it. Like, where am I making expensive mistakes that I could really take a step back? The other things are things like make your business look good versus actually spending money on the important things. So sometimes investing money in making your website look really good, or extra branding, or rebranding for a third time, when really you could be actually investing in better marketing. You could be investing in learning a skill set that's going to support this next stage of marketing. It could be learning your new AI tools. It could be learning to put yourself out there more effectively. It could be attending the right events to get in front of the right ideal clients. It could be investing in sponsorship and getting your business out there more. Like, there are so many things obviously you can invest in. So like, this episode is not really about like where to spend your money next. It's more like, how can you be more discerning so then you're spending your money in the right place to support your next level of growth within your business. And the last one, the most expensive mistake I see business owners making right now, is trying to figure it all out alone. Like, some of the best investments that I've made is actually getting the right people into my business to help support me. Rather than trying to figure it all out on my own, trying to answer everything, trying to test everything out and measure it myself. Like, there were certain things that I know that I've invested in that have been worth their weight in gold. One was actually having a data-driven person come in and be the OBM of my business, because that was not my strong suit. Like, looking at numbers and analyzing all those bits and pieces, I don't love it. But if I have someone else help me with that, it's much easier, right? Which then helps me make better decisions for my business. Secondly, was really acknowledging like where I was wasting time and where I should have been spending my time in my business in order for it to move the needle in my business. And that was where I realized it was time to hire a team. So investing in team has been like the best decision ever. But the last one there is like investing in masterminds and coaching that will support me to get to the next level. When I mean like trying to figure it all out on your own, is literally trying to make all of your decisions on your own, trying to get the answers on your own, like trying to ask the right questions of ChatGPT, to see if you get the right answer, and then being so overwhelmed by the response that you get that you end up being stuck in the same exact place. Every single time that I have reached out to someone that I've met in a mastermind, or that I have actually invested in a mastermind or coaching, where I have gotten close to the person that has done what I want to do, that has the results that I want to achieve, being able to ask the question to them and then help them either reframe it or help me refocus in the areas that actually are more important or that I hadn't considered, right? It's a complete shift in perspective, or saying, well, actually, you're asking the wrong question. And having that reflected back and then being like, holy crap, like, that's exactly right. I was thinking about it in this way when I should have been thinking about it this way. Or they literally give you the answer, like, so quickly. Like, I had a question around sponsorships recently, and I reached out to a friend of mine who I met in masterminds, and she does sponsorships all the time. And she was like, here is my pitch deck. I was like, I'm sorry, what? She literally gave me her pitch deck of how she pitches sponsorships. And I was like, oh my God, this is incredible. Absolute gold. Now, that wouldn't have happened if I kept trying to figure it all out on my own. And that person I met in a part of a mastermind. And then I also strengthened that relationship by going to an event that she was at. So honestly, the best money I've ever spent is attending events with high-level, incredible people. I don't mean like your coffee catch-up down the street where you're going to catch up with Betty Lou, who has a hobby business that is kind of like doing okay, but her husband supports her and, you know, her business isn't really her thing, but it kind of just brings in a bit of extra money. I mean, showing up into a room where there are high-level entrepreneurs that are in the arena taking massive, scary action, that have gone beyond the level that you are at and are achieving next level results and are open and willing to have conversations with you. That's what I mean. Those are the types of conversations that change you to the core. They change the way that you think about business. They change the way that you think about yourself. It upgrades your identity, and it solves the problems that you thought were problems and they're not real problems. Like the amount of times that I've had conversations with people at events, and I mean like the proper events, like I've invested thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to be a part of these types of events. And that's why I've created my own at Unstoppable Women, because I wanted you to have it too. And I didn't want you to have to fly to America to make that happen. I wanted to create an event where people are wanting to see you win to the point where they're not a gatekeeper. They're literally going to sit there and be like, what are you feeling challenged by? And then they're like, this is what I would do. Or this is what I did do when that was the experience that I was going through. Like allowing you to get access to this kind of conversations is an absolute incredible game changer. And every single time I attend events like this, it changes the way that I think about business. It gives me a whole new lease on life. It changes even the way that I go about doing business on a daily basis. And so challenging yourself to get to these types of events, because I know sometimes it feels like you don't have the time, you don't have the energy, you don't have the money. But every time I've gone and found the money and invested in myself to get there, like the last time I flew to America, actually the time before, so the last time I was actually speaking in Canada and went to America on the way there. But the time before that, I actually wasn't going to go. I had booked an event. I already had the ticket, but I hadn't booked the flight or the accommodation. And I almost wasn't going to go. And I spoke to a friend of mine who had been to the last two with me. And she's like, you said you were going to make the investment and you said you were going to show up for this. And that last event that I went to, holy hell, like that's where everything came together. I had so many opportunities come out of the woodwork. That's where that speaking gig in Canada came from. I had so many, I got to speak in a Lori Harder's community. Like I had so many incredible opportunities come from that last event. And I didn't think I had the money. I was like, I don't know how the hell I'm going to figure out getting there, but I just figured it out. I just found it. I figured it out and I got there and it was the best money I'd ever spent. So I want you to know that I know what it feels like. So if you're like, okay, I know I've got to set that time aside and I know I've got to be there, but you know, there's so many other events or I don't know, like I feel like there's, you know, money should be spent in different places. I guarantee you the majority of your problems are going to be solved by the people that you meet if you intentionally connect with them, by the people that you meet at Unstoppable Women. So get your ticket and be there because it's going to be so worth your while. So stop trying to figure it all out alone. That's where we go wrong. And I know that a lot of the time business sometimes can feel a little bit insular and can feel like you're in your own silo and building your own stuff. But when you open yourself up vulnerably to other people, you'd be more surprised that you can overcome and move through challenges much faster. Your comeback rate is so much better because of the people you surround yourself with. So if you need new friends, if you need new business besties, this is the space to do this. This is the connection opportunities you're going to get. And we're going to create curated, facilitated opportunities where you get to meet your next collaborator, your next business partner. And we're going to do that in a really unique way. So make sure that you're in the room. Head to unstoppablewomen.au and grab your ticket ASAP before prices go up very, very soon. All right, lovely. I'm going to leave you there. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I hope to see you at Unstoppable Women.